Every NBA game you have ever watched rests on one quiet promise: that the man in the striped shirt, the one holding the whistle, has no reason to care who wins. His name was Tim Donaghy, and for 13 years, that promise had his face on it. Then the FBI came knocking, and the most trusted whistle in basketball turned out to belong to a man betting on his own games. But here's the part that should keep you up at night. He says he never had to make a single bad call. He just had to know how the league really worked. Welcome to Good Basketball. This is the referee who says he rigged the NBA, and the secret the league is still fighting. To understand what he did, you have to understand what a referee actually is. Tim Donaghy worked his first NBA game in 1994. He was good, detail-obsessed, aggressive, the kind of official who wanted the big moments. For 13 seasons, he walked into arena after arena, wearing the one uniform nobody is supposed to question. Because a referee is the closest thing sports has to a judge. 3 of them on the floor, deciding in a fraction of a second what is a foul and what is just basketball. And here is the uncomfortable truth that makes the whole sport possible. We assume they are neutral. We have to. The entire multi-billion-dollar machine runs on that assumption. Donaghy spent over a decade inside that machine. He learned its rhythms, its habits, its blind spots. He learned that a referee doesn't have to cheat to change a game. He only has to lean. Every fall starts with a phone call. His name was James Batista. People called him Baba. He was a professional gambler from the same blue-collar corner of Delaware County where Donaghy grew up. They had known each other since they were teenagers. 2 Catholic school kids from outside Philadelphia who took very different roads and then met back in the middle. By the 2006 season, Batista understood something about his old friend. Tim Donaghy gambled, and Tim Donaghy had information no one else on earth had. The arrangement was simple, and it was poison. Donaghy would give his picks. Batista would bet enormous money. And for every correct call, an envelope of cash came back. $2,000 a game to start. Then more, reportedly tens of thousands changing hands as the picks kept hitting, and they kept hitting at a rate that should be impossible. Donaghy was reportedly right on something like 70 to 80% of his picks. Think about that number. Nobody is that good at predicting basketball, unless the basketball isn't quite as random as you think. So how did he do it? This is the part that changes how you watch the game forever. Donaghy's defense was strange. He insisted he rarely fixed games by blowing calls on purpose. Instead, he said he had something better. He knew the referees, all of them, their tendencies, their grudges, their tells. He knew which official swallowed his whistle in the fourth quarter, and which one couldn't wait to insert himself into a close game. He knew the open secret every player already believes, that the biggest stars get the calls, that a superstar's drive to the rim bends the whole night toward him. He knew which crews called the game tight, sending both teams to the free throw line until the score ballooned past the betting line. He knew which coaches got the benefit of the doubt, which arenas swallowed visiting teams whole, which matchups turned into whistle fests. None of that is cheating. All of it is knowable. And if you know it before anyone places a bet, it is a license to print money. That was Donaghy's claim, that he didn't break the NBA. He just read it better than the people running it wanted anyone to read it. And it might have gone on for years. Except Donaghy's secret was tangled up in a much bigger one. The FBI was not looking for a crooked referee. They were chasing the Gambino crime family. Agents were deep inside a gambling and extortion case when a name they did not expect kept surfacing. A name that wore stripes on national television. In the summer of 2007, the story broke. A sitting NBA referee was under federal investigation for betting on games he officiated. For a league that sells nothing but trust, it was the nightmare scenario. The one accusation the NBA could never fully wash off. On July 9, 2007, Tim Donaghy resigned. Days later, he was a cooperating witness, sitting across from the same federal government he'd been hiding from. On August 15th, he pleaded guilty to 2 felonies: conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to transmit wagering information across state lines. The honest services charge cut the deepest. In plain English, The government said he sold the one thing his job was built on: his honesty. The trusted whistle was now a convicted felon. But Donaghy was about to make the story so much bigger than himself. Because Donaghy had a version of events the NBA did not want told. He claimed he hadn't been the mastermind at all. He said he'd been pressured, that associates tied to the Gambino family leaned on him, and that when he tried to stop, the threats turned to his family. It was a chilling story. A referee in over his head, squeezed by the mob. And parts of it have always been disputed. Veteran crime reporters pushed back hard, arguing the real operation looked less like a mafia plot and more like 3 gambling-addicted guys from the neighborhood who got in way over their heads. Batista and the middleman, a mutual friend named Thomas Martino, were both sentenced to prison. Batista to 15 months, Martino to a little over a year. Whoever was really pulling the strings, the result was the same. The bets were real, the information was real, and it had all come from inside the game. Then from prison, Donaghy aimed at the biggest target of all, a single playoff game millions of fans already suspected. 2002, Western Conference Finals, the Lakers and the Kings, Game 6. To this day, some fans call it the most suspicious game in NBA history. The Lakers shot 27 free throws in the fourth quarter alone. The Kings, fighting for their lives, watched call after call go the other way. Years later, in a court filing, Donaghy's side alleged that 2 referees that night were what he called company men. Officials he claimed wanted to extend the series to a Game 7 because a Game 7 was good for business. He named no proof you could take to a bank. The league has always flatly denied it. But the accusation landed because it whispered what people already feared. What if the games aren't fixed by criminals at all? What if they're just quietly guided toward whatever outcome keeps the money flowing? The NBA understood exactly how dangerous that idea was, so it fought back with everything it had. Commissioner David Stern stood in front of the cameras and drew a hard line. Donaghy, he said, was a rogue, isolated criminal. One bad man, nothing more. Stern dismissed him as a singing, cooperating witness, a felon trying to soften his own sentence by dragging the league down with him. The NBA commissioned an independent investigation. Its report absolved every other referee and found no evidence that Donaghy ever deliberately made a call to win a bet. But read the fine print, and that same report admitted Game 6 was, in its words, poorly officiated. 15 blown calls. The league's own reviewers couldn't fully explain it. So which is it? A lone, greedy man who got lucky with his picks and lied about the rest? Or the only insider who ever told you out loud how the machine really works? Here's what makes it impossible to dismiss. Everything Donaghy exploited still exists. Stars still get the calls. Close games still tilt. And now the league is partnered with the betting industry it once feared. Billions of dollars now ride on the exact judgment calls a man like Tim Donaghy proved he could predict from the inside. Donaghy did his time. 11 months. He walked out, wrote a book, and never really stopped saying the same thing. You have no idea how much that whistle decides. So I'll leave it with you. The next time a superstar gets a call he shouldn't, and a close game swings on a whistle, is that just basketball? Or is somebody, somewhere, already counting the money? Tell me in the comments. And if you want the truth about the game they don't put on the broadcast, you know what to do.